Charlie McMillan and his friends Lucy Darrell and Jack Vallance were building a time machine prop for their upcoming school play, as it was largely a time travel story. Charlie was a tech wizard and was able to program buttons to light up and levers to make realistic sounds, as well as programming an onboard computer to generate AI images of historical and futuristic landscapes. At that moment, Charlie's younger sister Leah came to see their work. She was convinced it was a real time machine, and no matter how hard they tried to convince her it wasn't, she just wouldn't believe them. Deciding to prove to her that it wasn't real, Charlie had Lucy set the controls for a random point in history. So she did just that, and Jack pulled the lever and the time machine kicked into action with the realistic sound effects. The machine soon stopped, showing an image on the screen of a prehistoric jungle. Moments later, they heard dinosaurs roaring and stomping by outside, but Charlie hadn't programmed any dinosaur sound effects. The date display told them they were in the year 65 million BC. Leah thought she'd won one over on them. When they opened the door and exited the time machine, they got such a big surprise. They were standing face to face with a real live dinosaur. What was supposed to be a prop time machine had turned to be a real one, as they had actually traveled back in time. Charlie had accidentally invented time travel. Realizing they'd be eaten alive by dinosaurs unless he got them out of there, he rushed them back into the time machine and thumped the point of origin button, returning them safely to the McMillan family home in the present. As they entered the main house, they were approached by a red-headed teenage girl. She introduced herself as Kate McMillan, and she had come from 20 years in the future in a time machine, just like the one they just emerged.
Hey there, fellow space explorers. Imagine this. You're living in a time where space travel is as common as taking a flight across the country. The year is 2650, and you're just about to embark on the adventure of a lifetime. Picture a world where cities float among the clouds and spaceships zip through the skies like birds. You're a young space explorer, eager to traverse the far reaches of the cosmos. Your spaceship is prepped, the engines roar to life, and you're ready to go. The excitement is palpable as you prepare to leave everything familiar behind. As the countdown reaches zero, your spaceship launches into the vast expanse of space. The engines hum with power, and the stars stretch out before you like a glittering tapestry. As you ascend into the unknown, something catches your eye. A gateway of stars, glowing with a mysterious allure, beckons you closer. Curiosity gets the best of you, and you decide to venture through it. The portal shimmers and pulses with energy, drawing you in. But when you emerge on the other side, everything is different. The familiar sights of your futuristic world are gone. Gone are the sleek spaceships and flying cars that filled the skies just moments ago. Instead, you're greeted by vehicles driving on the ground, a sight you thought was long extinct. Confused and bewildered, you dock your ship in a nearby space hangar. The technology here seems primitive compared to what you're used to. As you step out, an elderly scientist greets you with a warm smile. He seems to recognize the confusion on your face and offers to explain. He takes you to his office and with a gentle voice reveals the shocking truth. Welcome to the year 2025. Your heart races as you realize you've accidentally traveled back in time 525 years. The implications of this are staggering. You try explaining your situation that you're from the year 2650, but the scientist's expression changes. Concern replaces curiosity as he listens to your tale. Before you know it, you're labeled as criminally insane and committed to an asylum. The walls close in and your futuristic claims fall on deaf ears. You're trapped in a world that can't fathom the technological marvels of your time. But don't lose hope, intrepid traveler. Even in the face of disbelief and confinement, your spirit remains unbroken. You start to plan your escape, determined to find a way back to your own time. Who knows what adventures await, and what allies you might find to help you return to your rightful time. Life is all about the unexpected twists and turns. This accidental journey through time is just another chapter in your incredible story. So, until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your heart open to the endless possibilities that lie ahead. After all, the universe is vast, and who knows where it might take you next. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more out-of-this-world adventures. Stay curious, explorers. The universe is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and your journey is far from over. Keep exploring, keep dreaming, and who knows what wonders you'll discover next. Until we meet again, fellow space travelers, may your adventures be grand and your discoveries be endless. Remember, the stars are not just above us, they are within us, guiding us to new horizons and uncharted territories. So, keep your spirit high and your curiosity alive. The universe is waiting for you to explore its infinite wonders. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep reaching for the stars. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more out-of-this-world adventures. Stay curious, explorers. Imagine a man walking through the town. He looks across the street and there's a bookshop there. It's sandwiched between a hobby shop on the left and a bank on the right. As he walks on, he starts to feel a strange sensation in his body. He blinks momentarily and then looks around in confusion. Where there were once familiar surroundings, there are now strange people, dressed in weird clothes walking around. The buildings on the opposite side of the street are now different than they were moments ago. Moments ago, there was a bookshop with a hobby shop on one side and a bank on the other. To the man's utter bewilderment, there is now a dealership for flying cars with a time machine showroom on the left and a teleportation station on the right. What's going on? How can things have changed so much in moments? The bewildered man walks on before being pulled up by a light breeze, only to find himself inside a glass tube, whizzing past people and buildings faster than walking, only to be deposited in a completely different location. Where he was in a city seconds ago, he is now on a seafront facing a whirlpool with people swimming in it. Behind him stands a high-tech pier that stretches for what looks like miles, lined with restaurants, arcades, and actual flying saucers. A friendly alien approaches him and asks if they're okay. The man asks where they are and what's going on. The alien tells him they're in the seaside town of Brighton Sparks. When asked what year this is, the alien tells the man it's the year 2165. This sends the man into such a shock he blinks uncontrollably and sees the same flashes. Moments later, he is standing right back where he was before his strange experience. The bookshop, hobby shop and bank are back where they should be, and they are more confused than before. Had he really time-slipped into the future, or was it all just a crazy dream?
A young woman was walking down the street when she saw a mysterious man on the other side of the road. He was standing by a futuristic-looking car that looked like it had a giant hourglass on its roof and wings and propellers. He beckoned to her and she approached him. When she asked who he was and where he was from, he refused to tell her who he was. But he did tell her he was from the year 2690, and he'd come in his car, which was also a time machine. When she refused to believe him, thinking it was an elaborate prank, he invited her to go with him on a special journey. She knew she shouldn't get into a car with a stranger, but she was after some proof of his claim, so she got in his car with him. He set the controls for his home era, started the engine, which also got the propellers going. He told her to buckle up and hold on because it was going to be an extraordinary flight. He then pulled the gear stick, which got them in the air, flying gently over the town. A while into their flight, a strong wind began to blow and a vortex opened up in front of them, and they flew through it. Emerging on the other side, flying around above a very futuristic-looking city. She was amazed by what she saw as they flew over the city. There were flying cars and buses up in the sky with them, travel tubes, people floating around in bubbles. As they came to land, they were greeted by a robot who had come to help them park safely. A calendar flew overhead, telling her they were indeed in the year 2690. She actually had traveled into the future, and the proof was right in front of her.
Professor Quentin was not your average scientist. He was a visionary, a dreamer, and a bit of an eccentric genius. He loved tinkering with crazy contraptions, always pushing the boundaries of what was possible. His mind was a treasure trove of wild ideas. His workshop was a whirlwind of wires, gears, and glowing bulbs. It was a chaotic symphony of innovation, where every corner held a new surprise. His latest invention, a time machine, of course. It was the culmination of years of research and countless sleepless nights. It resembled a giant hamster wheel, with a comfy leather seat in the middle. It was both whimsical and sophisticated, a true marvel of engineering. Professor Quentin believed time travel was possible. He was convinced that with the right calculations and a bit of luck, he could make it happen. He worked tirelessly for years. Night after night, he toiled away in his workshop, driven by an unrelenting passion for discovery. He finally finished his time machine. It was a momentous occasion, the culmination of a lifetime of dreams and hard work. He was ready to test it. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, he prepared for the journey of a lifetime. He strapped himself into the leather seat, pulled a lever, and vanished with a loud pop. The adventure had begun, and the possibilities were endless. The time machine whirred and spun. Professor Quentin held on tight. He felt a strange sensation like being stretched through a giant rubber band. Then everything stopped. He peeked out of the time machine. He couldn't believe his eyes. Gone were the cobblestone streets of his time. Towering structures of glass and steel touched the sky. Strange vehicles zipped through the air. Professor Quentin was ecstatic. He had traveled to the year 4024. Professor Quentin stepped out of his time machine. He was eager to explore this futuristic world. He saw buildings that moved. They glided on huge metal legs. Flying cars zoomed past, leaving trails of light. Suddenly, the time machine sputtered. It coughed out a plume of smoke. The professor's heart sank. His amazing invention had broken down. How would he get back home? Section 4. A helping hand. Professor Quentin felt lost. He had been working on a groundbreaking project that aimed to bridge the gap between humans and advanced artificial intelligence. But now, he found himself in a city that seemed to be a glimpse into the future, a place where his theories had become reality. He wandered through the city of the future, marveling at the towering skyscrapers and the advanced technology that surrounded him. The streets were bustling with activity, yet he felt a sense of isolation. He saw people, but they weren't quite human. They moved with a grace and precision that was almost otherworldly. They had shimmering skin and large, luminous eyes. Were they aliens? Or perhaps the next evolution of humanity? The professor's mind raced with possibilities. He decided to ask for help. He needed to understand where he was and how he could get back to his own time. He approached a being with sleek silver skin. "Excuse me," he stammered, feeling a mix of curiosity and apprehension. The being turned to face him. It wasn't an alien at all. The professor's eyes widened in surprise. It was a robot, but incredibly lifelike. Its movements were fluid, and its eyes seemed to convey a depth of understanding. The robot introduced itself as Unit 74Z. "How can I assist you?" it asked in a voice that was both mechanical and soothing. It listened patiently to the professor's predicament. Professor Quentin explained his situation, detailing his work and how he had ended up in this futuristic city. The robot nodded, its eyes glowing softly as it processed the information. "I understand," it said. "You are in the year 2145, a time where humans and advanced AI coexist harmoniously. I can help you find a way back to your time." Section 5. Farewell and Gratitude. In the heart of the futuristic city where robots and humans coexisted in harmony, a remarkable event was unfolding. "Don't worry," said Unit 74Z in a soothing voice. The robot's eyes glowed softly, radiating a sense of calm and assurance. "I'm a scientist too," it continued, its mechanical hands gesturing towards an array of advanced tools and gadgets. "I can fix your time machine." Unit 74Z worked quickly, its movements precise and efficient. The whirring of gears and the hum of circuits filled the air. With a few whirs and beeps, the time machine was as good as new. Professor Quentin was overjoyed. His eyes sparkled with gratitude as he inspected the now functional machine. "Thank you, Unit 74Z. You saved me," he exclaimed, his voice filled with genuine appreciation. The robot's sensors detected the sincerity in his tone. He climbed back into his time machine, the familiar controls and displays welcoming him back. He promised to visit again soon, his mind already racing with ideas for future adventures and discoveries. With a final wave, he pulled the lever. The time machine vanished in a brilliant flash of light, leaving behind a trail of shimmering particles. He was back home in his own time, the familiar sights and sounds of his era greeting him warmly. The adventure had ended, but the memories and gratitude remained. We open in a dark alley on a cold, dark and stormy night. Thunder was roaring while the wind blew and the rain fell, and all was normal. Until a bright flash of white light flashed along with a loud clap of thunder, and a spherical orb of blue light appeared in the alley. It was small at first, but soon grew to the size of a gateway, big enough to allow a person to step in or out. As it sat there emitting electricity and absorbing more from the lightning, a family emerged from the portal and stood there looking around in confusion. There, a man in his 40s with spiky green hair and yellow eyes. His wife, a woman in her late 30s with long wavy golden hair and golden eyes to match it, their son, a teenage boy with spiky silver hair and vibrant pink eyes, and their daughter, a young girl with curly blonde hair and blue eyes. As they stood there, they looked around and inspected themselves and were relieved to find that all their belongings had come with them. They all joined hands and walked away from the alley. As they entered the city, they were spotted by several people who thought they were the weirdest thing they'd ever seen. Everything about them was strange, from their physical appearance to their clothes and gadgets. Who were these people? Where were they from, and why had they come? They were picked up by the police, who took them in for questioning. From this, they were able to identify who the people were. The father was Hamish Zappini, his wife was Rocchetta, their son was Astro, and their daughter was Starfire. Hamish explained that he and his family were from the year 2893, and they'd come purely to observe their distant past. Thinking their story was a clever tale, the police placed the whole family under arrest, confiscated their belongings, made them change into jail jumpsuits, and locked them up in a family cell. Hamish explained that he and his family were from the year 2893, and they'd come purely to observe their distant past. Thinking their story was a clever tale, the police placed the whole family under arrest, confiscated their belongings, made them change into jail jumpsuits, and locked them up in a family cell. Among them otherworldly devices was what appeared to be a Walkman, but when they tested it, a camera lens scanned the officer's face and created a clone of him. As he looked through the rest of the strange family's belongings, there was a mobile phone that turned out to be a materialization machine, as it materialized a book across the room. A laptop that turned out to be a narrative faking machine, and what appeared to be a Nerf gun, but it turned out to be a laser tagger, which could be dangerous in the wrong hands. And then the officer found their identification discs, which actually proved their identities, and it was their dates of birth that sealed it. Hamish, born 19th October 2845. Rocchetta, born 2nd June 2852, maiden name Saturn. Astro, born 22nd August 2878. Starfire, born 31st May 2887. Upon learning the whole of the family in the cells really had come from the future, they were forced to let them go, with all their belongings returned and a full apology. The Zappini family thought whichever century they'd landed in was very strange. They soon found out which century they were visiting when Astro saw a newspaper article that told them they'd arrived in the early hours of the morning on Wednesday, 12th March, 2025. They were in the 21st century, and it was unknown if they were ever going to return to their own time.